Welcome back to Edgework here on the Hammer Betting Network, a daily live NHL show Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Today is Monday, March 13th. We're getting closer and closer to March Madness here. That'll kick off on Thursday. So if you happen to catch the bracket show last night, the bracket release show on the Hammer HQ, you are probably a little bit ahead of the game as Brad Powers, Corby from Keep Betting Co. and Ben Carey from Capwise took you through all the selections on Selection Sunday. And if you are looking for more information for your college basketball guide, or you're looking for a college basketball guide for this March Madness, make sure to head over to Capwise using promo code HAMMER to get $5 off of your purchase of the CBB betting guide for this year's March Madness tournament. In-depth analysis on all the teams and players that are in the tournament this year, coaches, their backgrounds, their records, players that to look out for, key players in the tournament. So make sure to check all that out if you are interested in a college basketball betting guide for this year. But guys, even more importantly than college basketball, March Madness, and the NHL, we got some Oscars controversy. Alex, I'll let you take it away because this is directly impacting you with what's going on right now. What happened last night with your betting experience on the Oscars?
So I watch the Oscars every year. It's something that I used to do when I was back home with my mom, and even now we'll still talk on the phone, and I'll just keep kind of flipping back and forth, right? So I decided to bet $10 yesterday, just a measly old $10 on plus 425 for yes that someone would slip and fall while getting to the stage on the Oscars. Well, that did happen. Thing is, it wasn't someone who was coming out of the crowd. It was someone coming from backstage. They were part of a big group, apparently, and this guy just completely faceplanted, and it was caught on camera. But the thing is, you didn't see him long enough to know if he was actually part of the group that was going to the stage to get an award, if he was some stagehand. So the video, it's up on Twitter. If you follow me at AX Smith Sports, I retweeted it as well. So I'm hoping that $10 can become $52, basically, just off of something goofy as someone slipping and falling. But we joke about it, but honestly, entertainment betting is probably going to be the future. We're seeing in Colorado and Michigan, they're actually trying to pass a bill to allow WWE betting. So I mean, if you can bet on professional wrestling, why couldn't you bet on an award show? So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that development. But I'm hoping that this ticket gets awarded. And sometimes some of the goofiest things, you just find an edge or think a price is right. Take a shot. You never know what happens.
Yeah. Even I had some Oscars bets yesterday, right? We've been talking about how I'm trying to branch out into more of these niche markets, and I had 7 Oscars bets. I have no idea. I just tally them up at the end of the night. When I'm told that we need to get down on this, okay. But
so money. I thought you were getting into player props and stuff here. Now you're dabbling into the Oscars.
You know what? Honestly, you look at the betting boards on the sides and totals every day. It's getting tighter and tighter, right? The edges are getting smaller there, and there's some huge edges on these little markets here, man. And the thing is that if you have accounts and if you have outs and you have ways to get down, it's not. I used to think that there's not so much money in it, but with the legal sports books and stuff, there's a huge market out there that I've left unexploited for a long time. So it's let the message get out there. I'm coming for those markets.
It's 2 of the biggest wins I've ever had in my gambling career I was able to grab Miss Philippines in the Miss Universe contest, and this is the year after Steve Harvey made the mistake,
Mm.
125 to 1.
Wow.
Also was able to basically double as much money as I made the entire Super Bowl the year that Katy Perry performed the whole Left Shark thing.
Yeah.
Somebody I knew because I had connections from when I was a musician actually had her whole set list from her tour, had most of the map outs. Like they knew about the whole Left Shark, Right Shark thing, and was able to make just as much money on this halftime show as I was that entire game, which I actually did pretty well on. So you
Amazing.
can't sleep on entertainment bets.
No, man.
Yeah.
Then there you go, man. Bet wherever you have an edge.
Yeah.
Anything you have an edge on, you bet it, no matter what it is.
Well, I was gonna ask you guys if you're looking at these things. Is this similar to a Katy Perry set list? Is this similar to the Super Bowl anthem time? Is that how you find the edges on the Oscars, the entertainment betting, or is there a different way to go about it?
I think Alex can speak better to this.
I mean,
For
as far as predicting on someone slipping and falling, and it's funny because
Well, yeah,
after I made that bet, I honestly thought I'm like, well, if somebody knows about this, couldn't somebody just, bite the bullet and just slip and fall? So it's kind of that
right.
is the shaky thing about having props like this. But honestly,
Like
yeah,
the
I mean, if you
streaker bets.
right. So that's yeah. So things like that could be predicted out. You can't really books won't even give you a limit for it, obviously, because they know somebody could stage the whole thing. But yeah,
Right.
there's certain things, like I said, with the halftime stuff. I know some people who had like Rihanna first song props that cash like 8 to 1, 9 to 1. Like, no, there's some edges you can find, and that's the beauty about having current artists. Now, Rihanna hadn't toured in years, but when you have this is something to remember for Super Bowl props. If you have an artist that is on tour, look up like setlist.fm, look up message boards or different things involving that band. You might be able to find some crazy fan who's seen them 10 times and then goes, oh, they're going to open with this song and that song for this reason, or tempo, or knowing how long the entire set's going to be. Yeah, you can. I mean, it's just like breaking down a card, in a game, basically.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
that's great. Like for me, it's just like, yo, this is the price here. We need to get down on it. It's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, last thing I'm gonna ask you guys, Oscars related. It's something I was curious about. I saw it start trending online last night. Favorite hockey movie or best hockey movie in your opinion? Just tie this edgework across to the Oscars. Best hockey movie. Alex, let's start with you.
Got to be Slapshot. I mean, that's a
Okay.
classic hockey film. It's referenced constantly. Did it age well? No, but most movies in the '70s didn't. So, but it's still funny. Every time it pops up on cable, I watch it. It's a classic.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
one of the
I
most
think
quotable ones for me.
yeah, for sure. I think Slapshot, you gotta go number one. But let me bring a couple of other movies to your attention. So,
Okay.
first one is kind of a hockey adjacent movie, um, Sudden Death. The one where they're in like the Pittsburgh arena and
Yeah.
like
Oh
they,
yeah.
like someone's trying to like blow up the place or something. One of the best lines there was I'm gonna misquote it, but like I wonder who's gonna win the Stanley Cup if this building blows up, right? Like it was and then like they had like when one of the guys goes in net and like he stops a shot from like Tony Amonte or something, right? So that movie was really good. The other one, the first Mighty Ducks. I think that's
Yeah.
probably has a lot of more nostalgic for me growing up, but
Hmm.
I would still I would still have that one up there. And then there was a hockey team that came from that movie too, right? So I
Yeah.
think I think you can't go wrong there.
And as someone who lives in St. Paul, Minnesota, and used to go eat breakfast every day at Mickey's, I have to kind of put that on my list too. So
Yeah, yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
All right. Well, I'm glad that we at least have all different answers here. Mine is, I think my I think my 1A, 1B, I go 1A, Miracle on Ice. I'm pretty sure I've seen that movie probably about 75 times, and I'm not kidding. I've watched that movie so many times. Even as a Canadian, that one tops the list for me. I used to
Yeah.
be able to, I actually probably still can recite the entire Herb Brooks speech. So maybe one day we'll hop on here. I'll just open the
Nice.
show with the Herb Brooks speech. But Slapshot, number 2 for me. And I see Connor Hartle saying D2 is hands down the best one, and then JH saying Youngblood, but
Youngblood's a good one.
yeah,
Yeah.
Daniel in agreement here. Good morning, fellas. Got to agree on Slapshot here. So hard to go wrong. Hard to go wrong with any of these movies, I would say.
Mystery Alaska is another one you could throw in because that's always a good one. If you got your girl by it, it's a bit of a rom-com, but it's also quality hockey as well. So
Oh, there you go.
You got to get the
I
rom-coms in there.
yeah. It reminded me, I don't know if you have the same commercials in the US, Alex, but so many, you would have seen it during the Super Bowl, how they always have, or after Sunday Night Football, the commercials for that 911 PD or the fire department show and stuff, and it's
Yeah.
Rob Lowe. And then I
Yeah.
remembered Rob Lowe is the guy in Youngblood, and I just hadn't connected that, and it was all of a sudden I saw one of the commercials, and I was like, wait, that's Youngblood. Like Rob Lowe is Youngblood, and then that was when I finally tied that together. But
yeah, I was minus a
yeah.
few plastic surgeries though, so it makes sense that you wouldn't be able to connect with.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Enough Oscars talk, enough movies. Let's get into the games tonight. We only got 3, but if you have any questions or you have a best bet yourself, make sure to send it over into the chat on YouTube there. We will see those in real time. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the Edgework HQ YouTube channel. Hit like on this stream. Helps us get out there. But nonetheless, fire your questions away in the YouTube chat. Let's start with the first game here tonight. And this one is a game that I'm not necessarily looking forward to as a Leafs fan myself, because traditionally the Leafs have struggled with the Sabres. But as it stands right now, Buffalo has now pushed themselves back to 7 points out of a playoff spot. You look at some of the teams ahead of them. Point back of Ottawa, a couple points back of Washington and Florida, but most importantly, 7 points back of the Islanders, who are holding on to the second wild card. And this is in large part due to their recent struggles. 4-5-1 in their last 10, but 4-game losing streak for them. And Toronto right now is coming into this one 7-3 in their last 10. They are coming off a big win against the Oilers and on a 2-game win streak here. They've now created some distance over the Tampa Bay Lightning behind them, 4 points up on them, and 2 games in hand. We got Toronto laying a decent price tonight at home against the Sabres, minus 238. So, Money, I will start with you on an outside third-party perspective. You're looking at these. Is this a fair price on Toronto? Is this an accurate price coming into this game tonight?
It's tough because no, I wouldn't lay this number on Toronto against the Sabres, regardless of how Toronto's playing right now. That was a good win against the Oilers. I was on the Oilers that night, and I was a little bit disappointed there. But I can't lay this number on Toronto. Buffalo, we've talked about Buffalo quite a bit the last few weeks, and we were saying that they're once they step up in class, they're in trouble. Now, what goes with stepping up in class is the team that you're stepping up in class against would need to show up for that game as well. And like you mentioned, I don't know if Toronto shows up for this game, right? But that's very tough to kind of quantify. We do have past kind of a body of work with Toronto where they do tend to not show up in these kind of games. So this is one of those things where if you want to take a shot at Buffalo, I think that would be the way to go. But there's no way I can support a play on Toronto, and the total at 7. I think it's fine at 7. Buffalo, before the Rangers game, they were starting to bleed a lot of chances again, and they really tightened that game up. That was a good defensive game for them. So I kind of want to see more if they are starting to play better defensively. But other than that, I think that if you want to take a shot at Buffalo, it's fine. But I can't recommend anything here.
Right. And I mean, Alex, your thoughts here. Daniel H in the chat is saying hit Toronto puck line minus 1.5 at plus 100, and asking, is Darlene hurt? Isn't Darlene hurt? I hadn't seen anything on that, but I'll check in the background here.
Yeah, I hadn't seen anything about that either. But I mean, if you're a Sabre fan, just take comfort in knowing that Blue Jay season's almost here, because the way that Buffalo just kind of rolled into the, I talked about it with the trade deadline. Like, I don't understand why this team didn't get a goal. Like, I'm secondhand mad for Sabre fans because they did not go and get a goaltender, which I really think that's all they needed to do to maybe sneak into the playoffs and get one of these 2 wild card spots. And now you said lost 4 in a row. They've just been porous on the back end. Toronto, I cashed a team total over with them in that Edmonton game. They got the offense rocking and rolling. And yeah, of course, they want to work on their defense. They want to make sure the goaltending is in tip top shape before they get into the postseason. But right now, they have the horses in the front end to just kind of blow out some of these bad teams. And with how bad Buffalo's been and with their goaltending and the blue line, I would just go with Maple Leafs team total over.
All right. And real quick here before I pull that up, so money, we got to use this little piece here, but so I did see, I have found this here. Rasmus Dahlin day to day with an upper body injury. Matthias Samuelsson and Eric Comrie week to week with injuries. But that was posted out last night in regards to those injuries. So there you go for those. And in terms of the Toronto team total, pull this up real quick here. There you go. Team total 4.5. plus 133. I'm seeing. Is that something you'd be interested in? We don't have to give that as a best bet, Alex, but just in terms of price and the
there's
number.
some. I would recommend if you have books that you can kind of adjust by the hook with. I would maybe go over 4, and that way you probably land about $1.15, $1.20, as opposed to 4.5. That's a bit steep. So, but that's the only direction I would be looking at would be team total. You can also take a team total in game as well at possibly a lower number. But I think I don't want to worry about Buffalo. That's the thing. I don't want full game over or anything Buffalo related because I just don't trust them to maybe put together 2 or 3 goals, even with a 6.5, especially with a 7. So I would just look at anything Toronto centric. So even puck line, even money, that's not something I would necessarily play. But yeah, you have to find some creative ways to bet on Toronto tonight. But I think they are the side that gets the job done.
All right, so no play in that one. We'll let that be. And yeah, I would say as not even just not from a numbers perspective or anything here, just someone who watches the Leafs. This is definitely a spot not to trust them in, 100%. So we'll move on to the next game here. Colorado going to take on the Montreal Canadiens in Montreal tonight. Colorado right now holding on to the second wildcard spot in the West as they were jumped over by Winnipeg. You're looking at them right now. They're 2 points back of Edmonton, who's holding on to the first wildcard spot. So not that significant, as especially they are 1 point back of Winnipeg, who's third in the Central right now. And they've got 3 games in hand on the Jets as it stands. They're coming off a win against the Coyotes, 3-2. They are 6-3-1 in their last 10. Pretty good road team here, 18-11-1. And the Montreal Canadiens coming into this game are on a 6-game losing streak, but we're getting to see a similar price here between Colorado and Montreal that we did just look at in the Toronto Buffalo game. Alex, is this a spot you'd be looking to back the Avalanche tonight? Is this price a little long for you, or kind of how do you see this one?
It is a bit long for me, but this is a game I definitely would be watching this game and definitely would be trying to chip with some live spots here. Colorado needs to have a big blowout performance in this game. You can't screw around and have this even be a 3-2, 4-2 kind of a close affair. You need to really put the screws to a team that's struggling right now in Montreal if you're going to be back in the postseason run. Like Colorado, they can't be comfortable where they're sitting right now. Like I said, just hanging around in that last spot for the wild card spot when at one point they were, seeming to. Obviously, everybody thought they were going to be the favorite to repeat in the West or at least win that Central Division. But now the odds of them missing the playoffs seem to be, getting closer and closer to the fact that they might not even make it back to defend that title. So they need some big wins here. I think this is one of those games where they really just batten down the hatches. I would maybe look at first period puck line. Even then, you're not getting a lot of value, but that would prove to me, okay, if they go on and cover, get a couple of goals here early, okay, it's a plus money there. So that's something I would look at. It's, get the job done in the first period and then try to build on that momentum. But if they can't finish and get out of the first period with the lead, they might be some serious trouble for the entire game. So then you might be able to take some kind of shot on Montreal. Say if it's scoreless after 20, maybe take a small shot with Montreal left.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that I feel really bad for the Habs. I watch a lot of their games. I don't know why, but sometimes they're just on, and at the times I'm watching and I just start watching them. But I feel really bad for them. They're a really plucky team. You can watch them playing, and they're really trying to do the right things. They're trying to tighten up defensively. They've gotten themselves into coin flip games, even though they don't drive play that much, but they just don't have the talent, right? And at the end, you just know that they're eventually going to find a way to lose this game. So I I agree with Alex. I think if like Colorado wants to, if Colorado has their head screwed on right, there's no reason why um, they don't blow this game out. But yeah, I got nothing here. I just feel bad for the Habs.
Daniel H also saying, don't know how much he trusts his Avs
Yeah.
tonight. Yeah, it's some of these teams in different spots against lower end teams. It's weird to try to have to back them, but especially when the odds are somewhat representative of actually how it should be going up with a significantly better team against a lower end team. But we did just look at two teams or two games there where we're looking at some longer prices, but the final game of the night a little bit tighter, and I know we got a best bet in this one here. This one is a little bit more important standings wise as well. We're looking at Dallas, who's holding on to first in the Central, Seattle on the other hand, who's got the third spot in the Pacific, and Seattle coming into this one on a 2-game losing streak. They'd like to turn things around, facing off against Dallas, who'd like to continue the streak that they're on right now with 2 consecutive wins. They are 19-8-5 on the road this year, whereas Seattle is actually below 500 at 16-13-4 at home. Alex, would you be looking at a side in this one, or would a total maybe be more of interest to you?
So it's funny because the other night when these two teams played, I was on Dallas the side, and the first thing I looked at afterward when looking at the stats, I'm like, wow, I should have had the over in that game. Went 4-3 in overtime.
Okay.
So I'm going with the over at 6. I got to grab the 6 at minus it was minus $1.15 earlier at BetMGM. Now it's moved to 6.5 in some places, but you can still lay $1.20, $1.25 if you shop around. And these are two teams that need points desperately. So I like. I think we'll see that kind of maybe desperate play that we saw from the last time these two teams matched up, and we'll see some goals. I think more goals earlier than we did in the first contest. So I like the over. I would also look at the draw again. I mean, Dallas, it makes sense to sprinkle a little bit on the draw every night with the Stars team, the way that they're living dangerously, playing a lot of close games, no matter how good or bad their competition is. So I like the over here, but also would look at sprinkle a little on that draw.
Would this be something you want to give out on the show, like as an
Yeah,
official play, even for a smaller unit here?
I have it in pocket, so yeah, I got plus 325. So
Okay. And how much would you want to put on that in terms of unit size here? Like quarter
that would be a
unit?
half unit. That would be a half
Okay.
unit where the total would be a full unit. So
All right, sounds good. So we'll lock
Yeah.
those in for a full unit and a half unit. So Money, do you have any opinions on this game here tonight?
Yeah, I do like the over here as well for some of the reasons Alex mentioned too. We talked about the Stars the last week and a half here, where we were saying that they have trouble scoring, but the goals are coming for them, and boy have they ever come. So this team's starting to score now. They're starting to convert on the chances that they've been generating, but have been snake bit for quite a bit this season. Ottinger is on a little bit of a dip now, which I've talked about this before. Like it happens. There's nothing to worry about. He is on a dip, and there's also a chance that with them on the first end of a back to back and him starting a bunch of these games here, that he may not get the start. So I think there's some upside on that over as well. Getting it early right now. And it's going to be headed to 6.5 anyway. So I do like that over as well. The other thing too with Seattle, I do have a play on Seattle. I'm just looking at their current market right now. Yeah, you can still get a 110 on Seattle. So they played in Seattle Saturday night. When you take out the juice, it closed Dallas approximately at 53%. They got into a coin flip game there, and it 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 was as coin flip as it gets, right? So I think that there's some value on plus 10 on Seattle, considering that there shouldn't be that much of a game to game adjustment. The only thing concerning me with Seattle, which is what always concerns me, is that Grubauer started a bunch of games. He's on a little bit of a dip as well. So there's a possibility we see Martin Jones. And of course,
Right.
I don't want to bet with Martin Jones. So that's something I need to kind of hope that doesn't happen. But there was just too much of an upside with me not taking Seattle. So I do have the Seattle, and I do like the over.
So if you're looking at Seattle, they're saying plus 110. What would you play that down to?
Well, without Martin Jones, I've got plus 104 on Seattle. With Martin Jones, you would probably need me to bet like plus 600.
Okay. Okay.
Not 600. Yeah, but with Martin Jones, I'll just rip off my ticket, so it's all good.
It took me it took me a second to just process.
Yeah, it's a deadpan humor, right? You gotta get used to it.
That's good.
I heard the number. I was like, okay, wait a minute.
And then you start making me question my delivery too.
I was just like,
Damn, man.
oh, what price did you just say? Oh, that's good. I like that. I like that. Okay. Questions in the chat, and maybe not questions, but thoughts on the chat. And this goes back to the Colorado-Montreal game. A couple revenge games here tonight. Also, Daniel H. saying, sounds about right to me, plus 600 with Jones. So there you go. But first revenge game, Connor Hartle saying Lars Eller revenge game here tonight.
Okay, yeah. And that's always a good look for goal score props.
Yep. And then Daniel H. saying the Lehkonen revenge goal game there. And Daniel H. also throwing out and Malgin anytime goal scorer. He's going to do those two. I'm going to show you first here. Artturi Lehkonen anytime goal scorer plus 285, best price available right now that we're pulling in on the BetStamp app. Is this something you guys would have interested in here tonight? We'll start with the Artturi Lehkonen, and then I'll pull up Lars Eller next.
I mean, he's been decent. Like, that's not the worst of price. Like I said, I haven't been doing too many goal scoring props all year, but that's not one. If I had to say, there would be more emphasis on one or the other, as far as like a revenge spot. Maybe I don't know. Maybe be Lars Eller. I don't know.
Lars Eller, I'm looking at it here, just pulling up on screen. Plus 590. There you
Much
go.
higher, so
Yeah.
higher odds for sure.
Yeah.
When was the
So
last
money.
time
Have you got into these markets yet?
Not
Too
today,
busy with
but
the
when was the
Oscars?
last time Eller? when was the last time Eller even scored a goal? Has it happened recently?
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute, I think.
Yeah, like I haven't looked, so I actually have no idea. Like I wouldn't be. I'm not in tune with that right now.
Yeah, no, all good. Well, just wanted to throw those out there as they were mentioned in the chat. And when they win later tonight, and Eller, Lehkonen, and Malgin all score, and we're gonna have Connor Hartle and Daniel coming back here tomorrow to let us know about the big day that they had, and all the three of us missed out on. We let those ones go by after those tips given out in the chat, but. Thank you to everyone who watched today. If you enjoyed the content, please make sure to subscribe to the Edgework HQ YouTube channel. Make sure to like this stream as well. It helps us get out there. And last thing, as we prepare for March Madness here, if you haven't already and you're looking for some type of college basketball betting guide as you go into the season or go into this March Madness tournament, make sure to head over to the Capwise website. You can use promo code HAMMER for $5 off as you get into your college basketball betting guides. You're looking to build out your brackets or to place your bets, especially for the first round. You can find all in-depth analysis on coaches, their histories, players, team history, key players to look out for, shooting tendencies, team shooting tendencies, and if you're into live betting, they have built out a specific analysis tool that is in the betting guide there that explains to you team tendencies when they go down in games, their ability to come back at certain spots depending on the point range, the type of team that they're playing, all useful information in there. So make sure to check that out over on the Capwise website using promo code HAMMER. So make sure to check that out today as you get prepared for this year's March Madness. But thank you to everyone who tuned in here today. Greatly appreciate it. And Alex, So Money, thank you guys for hopping in here with the insights. Look forward to seeing you guys throughout the rest of the week. And for everyone else, I will see you guys back here tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Daniel, Connor, especially. Look forward to hearing you guys tell us about how you cash these goal scorer props. But I will see everyone else tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Good luck on your bets tonight.